how does Israel manage to keep its seat at the UN despite being engaged in a genocide and being effectively at war with the institution and everything it stands for? I'm Tony Karan, editorial lead of AJ Plus, and I've been covering the UN for quite some time. Many of the world leaders who'll speak at the UN General Assembly this month fail miserably to meet the goals of the organization: peace and friendship, universal dignity, and respect for human rights, applying and enforcing international law. But Israel really is in a class of its own, not only because of its many years of brazen defiance of international law and UN consensus, but also because of its sustained, direct, and often deadly attacks on the UN itself. It has continually defied more than 24 UN Security Council resolutions since 1967, and that tally would be a lot higher were it not for the US vetoing some 50 further resolutions demanding Israeli compliance with international law. Recognizing the decades of Israeli lawlessness, the UN General Assembly a year ago gave Israel 1 year to finally end its entire 58-year illegal occupation of Gaza, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Syrian Golan Heights. The General Assembly also found Israel in violation of the Apartheid Statute and also the Fourth Geneva Convention that forbids targeting civilians in war. And we know arrest warrants have been issued by the International Criminal Court on war crimes charges for Israel's Prime Minister and former Defense Minister. So, on top of all these layers of criminality, Israel also severely restricts and disrupts the work of UN agencies in territories it illegally occupies, particularly UNRWA, whose hospitals, schools, and feeding centers in Gaza have been illegally targeted by Israeli military force. Israel has in fact killed 295 UN personnel in Gaza since October 2023. So if I seem to be using the word illegal a lot, well, that's because the indictment is long and it gets longer every day. But Israel makes no secret of its contempt for the UN and for international law. The key reason the UN is so ineffectual in dealing with international crises is that its structure grants just 5 countries the power to veto any decision of all the rest. The US track record of using its veto to shield Israel from any consequences, even for its most extreme violations of international law, are an example of why so many countries in the global south are demanding changes to make the UN structure more fair, more representative, more democratic, really. But nobody should be holding their breath waiting for the permanent 5 to voluntarily relinquish the privilege that comes with a veto.
The result of the voting is as follows: 13 votes in favor, 1 vote against, 1 abstention. The draft resolution has not been adopted owing to the negative vote of a permanent member of the Council.